national headlines. Her return shocked the nation even more. This is the true story of Sherry Collins, the woman who vanished and returned. Sherry Collins, 32 years old, lived a predictable suburban life. She worked in medical billing, enjoyed evening reading, and was known for her daily morning jogs. But behind her calm lifestyle, there were signs of trouble. Workplace stress, marital tension, and an unsettling belief that someone was following her. Neighbors would later report that she mentioned strange cars parked outside her home at night. On October 13th, Sherry left home for her usual run. She never returned. Her phone went silent. Hours passed with no sign of her. By nightfall, the police were called. Search teams formed. Neighbors, volunteers, and officers combed the desert roads, but no footprints, no phone, no clues. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Detectives launched a full-scale investigation. They interviewed friends, co-workers, and neighbors. They discovered Sherry had recently reported feeling watched. She argued with her husband days before disappearing. She had been receiving anonymous messages, but none of these leads brought answers. The FBI joined the search. Drones, K-9 units, and helicopters covered miles of desert. Days turned into weeks. The community began to fear the worst. Then, on Thanksgiving morning, exactly 22 days after Sherry vanished, a 911 call came in. A driver on Interstate 5 in California had found a disoriented woman on the roadside. It was Sherry Collins. Officers found her bruised, exhausted, and restrained with makeshift bindings. Her hair had been chopped unevenly. She claimed she'd been kidnapped by two masked women, held in a dark room, threatened, abused, and finally managed to escape. The nation breathed a sigh of relief. Sherry had survived. Her return sparked nationwide attention. Media called it a Thanksgiving miracle. She was reunited with her family and shielded from reporters. Her injuries, according to medical professionals, seemed possibly self-inflicted. And then came the breakthrough. DNA on her clothing did not match two women, but a man from her past. After months of investigation, federal agents uncovered the truth. Sherry had staged her entire disappearance. She had stayed voluntarily with an ex-boyfriend in California. The injuries were either self-caused or inflicted with consent. Her motive appeared to be emotional distress, a desire for attention, and unresolved psychological issues. When shown the evidence, Sherry confessed. The confession stunned the public. Sherry was charged with making false statements and creating a nationwide hoax. She was sentenced and ordered to repay nearly $300,000 spent on her search. But the deeper damage was personal. A shattered marriage, a divided community, and a story that forced the nation to question the thin line between victim and perpetrator. Sherry Collins' case remains one of the most unusual missing person stories in modern U.S. history. A reminder that truth is not always what it seems. In 2019, in a peaceful Florida neighborhood, a young nurse survived one of the most terrifying home invasion cases in modern American history. What followed became a landmark case in forensic investigation and personal courage. This is the true story of Emily Warren, the nurse who fought the night intruder. Emily Warren was 29 years old, a dedicated emergency room nurse. She lived alone, worked night shifts, and spent most days resting or caring for her patients. She was known for her calm nature, someone who had seen life and death daily and handled stress with grace. But in early 2019, she began noticing strange things around her home. A backyard gate left open, footsteps near her window at night, her motion sensor lights flickering. She assumed it was neighborhood kids or faulty equipment until the night of March 4th. After finishing a late shift, Emily arrived home around 2:15 a.m. She unlocked her door, stepped inside, and immediately sensed something was wrong. A faint smell, sweat, a floorboard creak, not hers. Her living room window slightly open, her heart began to race. She took one step back toward the door, and then she heard it. Footsteps coming down the hallway. A man stood at the end of her hallway, wearing gloves, holding a flashlight, and blocking her only exit. Emily ran for her bedroom, slammed the door, and held it with her full weight. The intruder began kicking. She grabbed her phone, dialed 911, whispering her address. The intruder's final kick broke the lock. He entered, and the fight began. Emily was trained in self-defense. All nurses in her hospital were. She struck the intruder with a broken lamp, grabbed a sharp piece of metal, and fought with everything she had. The man overpowered her, trying to restrain her hands. She bit his forearm with full force. He screamed, a loud, deep wound. It was enough. Emily escaped his grip, ran to the bathroom, locked the door, and climbed out through the tiny window into the backyard. The police sirens were already approaching. When officers arrived, the intruder fled through the side door, leaving behind blood on the floor, fingerprints on the window, and shoe prints across the hallway. Emily was shaken, bruised, and terrified, but alive. Detectives collected the intruder's blood sample from Emily's bite. Within 24 hours, DNA results came in. A match. The intruder was identified as 37-year-old Mark Daniels, a repeat offender wanted for multiple burglaries. He had been hiding in abandoned buildings near Emily's neighborhood for months, and he had chosen Emily's house after watching her routines. The trial drew significant national attention. Emily bravely testified, describing the terror she experienced. The evidence was overwhelming. DNA, fingerprints, shoe prints, forced entry, and surveillance footage showing Daniels near her home. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. Daniels was found guilty of home invasion, assault, and attempted kidnapping. He was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Emily recovered slowly, both physically and emotionally. She moved to a safer neighborhood, installed advanced security, and became an advocate for women's self-defense and safety awareness. Her bravery not only saved her life, but also prevented future victims. Today, Emily continues to work as an ER nurse, stronger, more resilient, and widely admired for her courage. Her story remains a testament to the strength of the human spirit when faced with unimaginable danger